Thank you, Bastian Bori in Dubai. With us now are Jason Brodsky, Policy Director of United Against Nuclear Iran, and Camila Entagabi-Ford, Editor-in-Chief of Independent Persian. Camila, you can't overstate the importance of such a meeting, especially when it comes to the military chiefs of Israel and Saudi Arabia. What do you make of it?
Thank you very much for hosting me. Good evening to you, viewers, and the other dear guests. We cannot underestimate the importance of this meeting. However, we have to remember the accord between Israel and some of the Arab countries are not including Saudi Arabia and the others. Only two of them, United Arab Emirates and Bahrain, are part of this Abraham's Accord. Even the report mentioned General McKenzie was at the meeting, and I believe even his attendance and with such a big meeting, still the regional country doesn't have enough trust at the United States. They lost their trust, and this trust, it may take time to rebuild again, and it depends on how President Biden is going to handle the situation in Ukraine. We can say maybe the regional country can have the same trust they had before coming back to the United States, even in confronting Iran. The visit of Saudi Crown Prince, the visit of the Prime Minister of Iraq in Saudi Arabia, and he's welcomed by Saudi Crown Prince, and at the same time he's visiting Iran, and at the same time welcoming received by the Iranian. Were telling us the regional countries has their first aim to decrease the tensions among each others before wants to open up to other chances and channels, which we speak about, like having that kind of coalitions.
Camila will be speaking about Iraq later, but I want to ask you, Jason, are we seeing here the military alliance that was whispered about all those months?
It's great to be with you. I think we're seeing the beginnings of one. It's a really important meeting that took place in March, and I think that it's forming the building blocks of that very alliance. But right now, it's not an alliance. I would say it's more focused on early warning and radar. But I think baby steps, and hopefully when President Biden visits the region next month, he'll be able to make more announcements in this regard. And I think it's also a signal from the United States that it is trying to address these non-nuclear concerns as it relates to Iran with the overmatch that it has on its missile and drone programs.
Right. And as we know, Jason, from the past, sometimes, actually many times, military cooperation precedes diplomatic cooperation.
Yes, and the Abraham Accords provided the blueprint for that, and it was highly significant that you have Saudi Arabia, who was at this meeting in March, not just them, but Qatar as well. And so I think that we're seeing the beginnings of something very promising.
Camila, now with the expected resumption of the nuclear talks, Israel opposes another deal. What do you think will happen? What the U.S. will do?
I read in Israeli news today, which there is two different views among of the Israeli politicians, Mossad and intelligence services in the military. One is agree with reviving a deal with Iran, and the other one disagreed. I want to say even in Israeli, there is a different view about these talks and about having this agreement with Iran. In my opinion, an agreement which it can serve Iranian people's interest, at the same time is limit Iran a nuclear program and also cut off Iran's head from interfering at the regional matters, and also putting the regional countries, the neighbors, all in threat, and even Israelis, if that very strong agreement can build up and can put Iran at this frame, it's in benefit of everyone. So otherwise, if it become like the one 2015 signed 2 week, which Iran simply can resume its nuclear activities and confronted, demonstrated in Iran, is not good for Iranian, is not good for region, is not good for Israel.
Right. Well, I should say that the incoming Prime Minister of Israel, Yair Lapid, was quoted today as being opposed to another deal. Jason, how do you think this will be played out in the near future?
Sure. Well, I think that the debate between the IDF and the Mossad is nothing new. They have different institutional perspectives, and I don't anticipate any major changes happening before the Israeli election. But I will say that there is a fundamental contradiction in the approach with this nuclear deal, because of the sanctions relief Iran will earn from the agreement, it will be able to give more resources to its proxies and partners to be able to dominate the region more, threatening these very countries that the United States is trying to protect with its regional air defense systems. So that's something the U.S. is going to have to work out, and that's something countries in the region really want to see movement on.
But so far looks like there's going to be a clash between Biden and the new Israeli Prime Minister when Biden arrives here. Are we going to see this, you think, Jason?
I think that there will be a difference. I think soon-to-be Prime Minister Lapid, though, has a different style than certainly former Prime Minister Bennett, and also outgoing Prime Minister Bennett and Prime Minister Netanyahu. But I think that there will still be a fundamental difference of opinion on the Iran nuclear deal.
Yeah, it looks like it. I'd like to thank you very much. We're running out of time for this. Thank you very much, Camilla. Thank you very much, Jason. We'll take a short break, and when we come back here with Middle East Now, the